to shut my mouth and let you guys do your opening, whatever you need to do, and then you just say something to me when you're ready.
Well, how about we just start? We could just start right now.
What is this, episode 6 or 5?
I think we're on episode 6 now.
We're
on episode 6 with Shane Demoss.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, look, he joined us.
Are
we're live. We're going right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
okay, great. Hi, everybody.
So, how's it going?
What's going on?
Episode 6 of Talk Around Town, man. Who'd have thought we'd have made it 6 episodes, Geoff?
Oh, who would have thunk it? So, and then to have the first guest be Shane Demoss. Who?
That is referred to as
the Shane Demoss. Oh, I forget.
Yes.
When you're in Ohio, everything has a the whatever, right? Is that what it is? But I mean, I'm representing Kentucky here, you know. So
that's just the Wildcats. Yeah.
As long as it says bourbon, we're good.
That's where I was born and bred.
Yes.
Born and bred.
Braided. All right.
So,
hey, glad to have you all with us today. And for those of you that have been supporting this show that we're doing, it's just for fun. We're just out here chatting it up, Talk Around Town with Geoff and Scott. And today joining us is Shane Demoss from the group Until Rust and Shane Demoss Music solo sometimes. How you doing, Shane?
Good. How are you guys doing today?
Hanging in there.
We're great. We're going to pick your brain today, though. Hope you're ready.
It's gonna be a short show.
All right, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe below.
Exactly.
Tune in next week when we bring you somebody that actually wants to give us information. No, Shane Demoss. I was around kind of when you got started and had a chance to see you play and talked you into doing something, a little battle of the bands that we did. And you were out there playing a little bit, but you hadn't played a whole lot. And man, you have just in the last 2 years blown up, man. How about it?
Thankful. And I still don't know why anyone would want to hear me, but I'll take it. But so far as joining into the acoustic battle of the bands that you put together and hosted, that was definitely a confidence booster for me personally. Rob has always been in bands since he was a lot younger, and I think right before you saw me, I was in a band for about 3 months right before that, my first band, and then Until Rust, and that's it.
So
that was a cool little gig to play with everybody, and you got the chance to make some great friends out of that too. And I think that was the part that was the most fun about that battle of the bands. No matter who won or whatever, it was just kind of cool to meet all those people, and everybody still to this day kind of is tight with each other. And I think that says a lot for the music community around here and everybody, and you especially. You were in there. You were a little timid at first when you played that, and then I've seen you blossom a whole lot. And I know Geoff's played a lot. He's played a lot of music, and it's a tough battle out there to get followers and people to come to your shows. And you guys have slayed it. And when you say Until Rust is playing somewhere, it's usually a packed house.
You guys really took off. Yeah, I was going to say really took off. You said you were only in one band prior to Until Rust?
For about 3 months. It was a band that Rob was lead guitarist of. Their name was Midget Moses.
Wait a minute, why didn't I get that call?
I don't know. They needed a lead singer, and Rob had just started dating my wife's sister, and over beers and playing a little guitar, he decided that I could sing enough to join the band. So I went to a tryout and did a few songs, and I was in the band, and that lasted not very long at all.
That's funny. Hey, can we talk about one thing that I wanted to mention? I hear this story about the night that you sang karaoke after being at a bodybuilding competition you were in, and you went to celebrate at the Soft Rock Cafe in Centerville, I understand. And most of the people, if this story has been told to me correctly, you got up there to sing. Most of the people in the place didn't know you could sing. and you'd had a little liquid courage, and you got up there, and the whole bar stopped and listened to you and your voice and said, "Wow." Is there any truth to that?
That's what they tell me, sort of.
You don't remember?
Well, I spent 15 weeks prepping for a bodybuilding competition, and then the same night I ended up going out and finally having alcohol. So it's a little hazy. It's a little hazy for that one. I was ultra cleaned out, but that being said, yeah, I mean, I didn't really sing in front of anybody up until then.
So that was kind of the debut night, and people said, "Wow, Shane Demoss, you've got a voice. You need to use it." And that's what I hear. And you've used it, and people compare you to Chris Cornell and people like that, which that's got to be an honor.
Well, completely flattered, although I think they're just being nice on that one. I know all the octaves Chris can sing, not me. Uh, but I really, the person would have to thank for me even playing music out in front of people and all is Rob. I mean, Rob's the one that got me to join the band. I had never been in a band on any capacity, full or acoustic, and he got me to sing. And then after that imploded 3 months later, I knew immediately why all my childhood favorite bands broke up, and you really had no idea. Trying to get five guys or gals to agree on every aspect of what's going to happen in that band is a hard task.
Yeah.
So so I knew immediately. I looked at Rob. I was like, "What we need to do is just two-man acoustic."
And even times that's rough too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're hanging out in the wind, so you don't have a bass player and a drummer.
But I'm just saying, even personality-wise too. Not saying that either you or Rob are hard to get along with, but it doesn't matter who you're around. When you're around people that long all the time, you get on each other's nerves. So,
well, you're very fortunate that Rob's family and you guys are really tight in that aspect, and I think that helps make it. And there's no between you two guys, there's no diva stuff that goes on that I see ever when you play. I mean, it's you guys share the stage. You in your own right are both equally very talented. And you've seen Rob grow in this too. He's gotten confidence in his vocal abilities and everything else as you guys have played this duo, and it's really a cool thing to watch and see the people that follow you around and come up after the show and thank you and all that. I'm just an admirer now of what you guys have become over the last couple years.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm just shocked people want to come listen. so I'm truly thankful and grateful for anyone that would actually make an on purpose trip out to any venue or restaurant or bar to come see Until Rust. I mean, that's awesome.
It's always a good time. It's always a party. Whenever we can get out, Absolutely. It always seems like that's the hard part is getting out and seeing other people when you're playing. I mean, when's the last time you've gotten to go see somebody play? I mean, you play so much. So.
Well, and then when you get a free minute,
you don't want to go sit in a bar.
I mean, the kind of the last thing you want to do, and it's not talking myself into it. I mean, I am married to a very understanding fireball of a wife, so she,
I like the way you did that.
The last place she'd want to go.
Yeah, she sees you enough, right?
Yeah.
That's the hard thing. Geoff and I have talked about this with band wives, and they see the same show every night, and just because you go from the Dublin pub to Mr. Burroughs and all that's a different crowd every place. Your wife's not the different crowd. She's hearing the same songs, seeing the same faces in those places, and that gets to where they want to take a night off and just go out to dinner and go see a movie or do something different than hang out in the clubs. And I get
right.
it.
I mean, imagine being a big time band who only has one album out or two albums, and you have a 45-minute set. So every night for the whole year, you play the same 45-minute set. I couldn't even imagine.
In a different city. Yeah. It's nuts. Well, it's fun to watch you guys. It's fun to see what's going on out there and the growth of acoustic music that's happening right now because of this pandemic has been, the guys that do acoustic are doing pretty well. They're getting gigs because they're affordable, and the clubs can afford them. And I was talking to David Thornton the other day about it, and he says I've done really well this year with my solo thing, and he knew that if he was in a band, he wouldn't be doing as well. So,
well,
it's a two-edged sword.
That's what Shane and I were just talking about that earlier, and I just booked, multiple shows with just Rob and me. Different Rob, not that short Rob, So my Rob.
Short.
See, I can say that because I'm short. So, yeah. But yeah, we're filling up the calendar. We're paying, we got 2 shows this weekend. We got a couple more coming up with just the 2 of us, because the first question out of any new venue's mouth is, are you a full band? If you're a full band, I don't want you right now. Maybe this summer. I'm thinking about booking something this summer, but probably not for a while. And so it's like, man, if I was trying to book a full band every time, I'm thankful for the venues who do let us come in as a full band, but we wouldn't be playing at all. But that's true. I mean, right now, man, the acoustic stuff's taken off, so that's nice.
It seems to be even the patio, this year, the patio season, it seemed to be very popular.
Yes.
And, can we change gears for just a second?
Sure.
I've got to ask this, and I've asked these guys this in other forums, but I want the people out there watching to hear this. Where did you come up with Until Rust? It's a very unique band name, it really is.
I've had a handful of people want to talk us out of it, and said we should have named it, this and that. Everyone's always got a better idea. But before Rob and I started playing out, and we had finally learned enough songs for, I don't know, a 3-hour set, barely, we had our last whatever get together, which ended up being an all night, play and drink. And I said, well, look, we need a name, so let's bring all our name suggestions to the practice. So there I am. It's about 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and I'm feeling pretty good. So is Rob. And I'm like, oh, shoot, we didn't name the band. And get out your list, Rob. And Rob had no list, of course. And I went down a list with about 20 things on it. And we read through the list, kind of like this, and couldn't quite figure on one thing, narrowed it down. So then I pretty much blindfolded Rob and had him point to the piece of paper, and we were Until Rust seconds later.
Highly technical story there. Yeah, it really took a lot of effort on that one. Yeah.
Everyone expects some very deep meaning, and I keep on saying I'm going to come up with a BS story that's way more meaningful, but I just haven't done it.
Hey, it's made for some cool logos you guys have. I love the VW bus and some of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have lost you guys for about a half second there. You there?
Yeah.
You're back.
Back.
Okay.
So, Geoff, what do you think about that? I mean, you were telling me about how you named bands and so on, but that one's a good story.
That's a pretty good one, and that's, maybe next time, whenever I have to come up with a new band name, that's exactly what I'll do. Just put a bunch of words on a piece of paper and point. So
have somebody come out of the audience and draw it out of a hat. Here's our new band name. There it is.
I mean, it's fun. I think you should come up with a new story for that, though, so that way, just a super elaborate,
Oh yeah.
Make it very believable. But.
Your publisher will do that for you, and when they write your bio on your big website when you're on tour and all that stuff, they'll make it good.
Right. Absolutely.
You guys,
who's the girl right now? There's a girl taking a bunch of crap right now that's out there all over the internet that she was claiming she was from, I don't know, Paris or somewhere, Belize or something, and really she was born and bred in Boston, but her publisher wrote all this on her bio and everybody believed it. It's believable.
If it's on the internet, it's true. So
that's true. It is.
But
more so these days than even the days before.
Right. And fellas, would any of you guys, that's a good thing with the internet. Would any of you guys have Facebook? Honest to goodness, if you didn't have a business around it.
I don't have a personal Facebook page. That's why I don't, and the only reason that I have an Instagram account is for music. So
I could not do it if it weren't for trying to stay relevant in the business community with some of the things I do. I wouldn't do it.
I've actually considered making a personal page just because it makes it a lot easier to connect with venues, because when I send a message, you have to send it. I do have a personal page, it's the mystery person, but when you send a message to someone with a fictitious name and you try to get a response, they probably just look at it like, yeah, I don't think so. So that's why a lot of times I try to go into venues and have face-to-face and let them know. But
we get in this, I think we get in this situation with Facebook where, and the business pages now especially, it's frustrating as all get out, because you put something up and you get like 3 likes and 1 comment on it and that kind of stuff. And as I survey people, like I have the forum at least to survey some folks when they go live with me and say, did you see that post we posted today about who'd you see play out this weekend? And they're all posting there, no, didn't see it in my feed. And how many friends do you have? Shane, I know you've got a ton of them on Facebook that you never see any of their stuff, but if you go to their page, they posted 10 minutes ago. And it's just a weird format, the way all that works. And I think we all get too wrapped up sometimes in, man, did I get enough likes or did I get enough shares or all that, or views on my show? And, this thing we're doing, we're not getting thousands of views on this podcast, Geoff, but
not even close.
We're getting some people that want to hear what we're talking about, and that's I guess that's what matters.
I mean, I've talked to a few people who say that they watch every episode and they watch the entire episode. Sometimes I wonder why, but
me too.
But I mean, it's a handful. I mean, I'm only posting it on YouTube, so I can see all the, how long they watch, when they drop off, when they quit watching, those types of things. But I mean, that's easy to do when you've only got 10 or 15 people watching your video anyway. So, but.
Well, this one will be our biggest viewed show because we have the Shane Demoss.
I should have.
I don't know. Good luck. I lost all the hair, so all that may be gone.
I'm like the only one left with hair. What's going on? Everybody cuts their hair off.
Thanks, Geoff.
I don't know. It was a sporadic choice.
I've actually been thinking about it because it gets old having to deal with all the hair. It's nice not having to go get a haircut every 2 weeks, but man.
Yeah, but now I have to do it all the time. Like, I didn't really do anything before. It's awful.
Yeah, now you've got it.
I'm regretting my.
Now you have. Oh, really? See, now you got to style it. You got to do everything.
It's awful, man.
So.
Can I welcome you guys to join my hair club for men, which is nothing. It's gone.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's rapidly going away, but it's the way it works. I'd like to have your hair, both of your hair, just for a day, but that's a whole different show.
You could get some hair plugs.
Back to you were talking about Facebook and whether or not we'd have a Facebook page. A lot of people know I have my personal page, I have my solo page, I have an Until Rust page. Instagram, I have personal/solo and Until Rust, and Until Rust has a Twitter account. So I balance all those, but point being that I run into people all the time, and people that are close to me, and they're like, God, you don't ever post anything but band stuff. I'm like, I know. I can tell. I don't use it enough to where if Rob and I weren't playing or I wasn't playing music, it would probably just go away.
I'm with Nick Wheeler. Nick Wheeler has a great philosophy, I think, on Facebook. It's post pictures of dogs and happy things and pets and on your personal page and leave the rest out. I get tired of the politics. You see a lot of my granddaughter on mine. That's about what you see on my page, just to let people see her little smile. But the rest of it is... It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody can use some more positivity.
I post my bulldog.
What's that, Shane?
Yeah. I
did post my bulldog the other day. So it was something that wasn't band related.
There you go. And those are the things people stop and look at, though. Dogs, kids, they love it. I noticed for a while on your band page, you were putting obscure pictures up and then promoting whatever gig you were doing. It was like it catches people's eyes, I think, when they see this picture of something.
Yeah, the last one was 4 tigers, one of every color, and it just said "Until Rust." It makes the funny thing is nobody calls me out on it. Like, what does that mean? It doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't.
That's funny.
Oh, it's like back in the 70s. Dude, he must have some subliminal meaning to that.
Sure.
Tiger King.
Yeah, great. You just got done watching the Netflix special. That's
yeah.
Right.
So Shane, you've been watching these shows, I know. Tell us a little bit about what you think about what we're doing here and what we're going to expand into, obviously, with bringing other artists in and things. You think it's something we'll be able to sustain on the interwebs?
I think so. I think the more you do it, the better. It's just like anything else. The more you do it, the better it gets. I think you guys have a great idea going. I think it looks great. It sounds great. I'm interested in what you guys are talking about. The aspect of, Geoff's up here doing his thing, and I know he knows a lot of the technical side because I played a show. Rob and I played a show with him and Route 88 and Velvet Crush via internet at the beginning of the pandemic. We were totally socially distanced.
Of course.
We put that out there. And then, we've got your perspective and, being that you host your own podcast and you do trivia and you MC. And so, and Geoff plays in a band. So I think it's a great mixture.
Yeah, it's fun to just find weird topics to talk about too. Like we talked about gear last time, and what we had in our studios and things. I think that's the fun part about it is it's not scripted, as you have learned very quickly, Shane.
Yep, just on the fly.
Geoff hit the go button and said we're doing it, so there it was. But Geoff does a lot with the production, and thanks, Geoff, for that.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes it, learning how to do all the video production stuff and whatever else. I was, listening to somebody else's podcast, a comedian, and he said, he just put out a Netflix special, and he hired this whole team of people. He had, somebody for videos and pictures and whatever. He said he'd go into the studio to check on, see how the video editing, and he said on one screen he had a YouTube video on how to video edit, and then on the other screen he had the video that he was editing. So that's kind of the same thing here, just learning on the fly. A little bit of everything, and each time I try to add a little bit more and do something. It's just fun. It gives me something to do. The next thing that I would like, and maybe we can get Shane back to do this again, is to do it in-house somewhere. And I thought about that this time, like if we had time, get everything set up, and even we could still do some Skype, but have a couple people here together, and we could have played a couple songs together. Sitting right here on the couch, play some tunes, throw that on there.
Absolutely.
So
that'd be sweet.
But
yeah, let's hope we can do that soon. I mean, we can. I mean, obviously, we've all been together at one time or another, in close proximity.
Right.
But right now the world is living by Zoom and Skype and all those things to chat with everybody. Even family Christmases went over Zoom this year. A lot of people.
That's the way we did it.
Who'd ever thought that would happen?
So
I lose my mind every time I go to a store and I get out of my car and I'm almost to the front doors of the store.
And you forgot your mask.
And I realize I forgot my mask.
Yeah.
And then at that moment, I'm pissed that I forgot my mask. And at the same time, I'm shaking my head going, what is going on? Like, it blows my mind every single time.
And there's so many places that are different that you go to. Some places are very relaxed. Some places are really over the top with some of that. And did a fundraiser this weekend, and we traveled on a poker run to different spots. And the difference between just the bars that we stopped in for this poker run was like night and day. And you really, and it was tough for some of the folks to grasp that were in that poker run. They just weren't used to going places where they had to conform to the COVID rules and some of that. So it was interesting. It's weird to see the different philosophies out there because, and I know some people have had this unfortunate virus through this thing and been very poorly affected by it. In fact, some friends of ours have passed on, and that's a shame. it's a sad thing, but it needs to get out of here so we can go back to business. I'm not using the word normal ever again.
No.
There was never such a thing.
No. No.
There was never such a thing. It was just what you became used to at that time.
Yes.
Something I do want to mention real quick that I forgot to mention. I meant to, and I think we just got carried off into another subject, was in the beginning of the show, we were talking about the acoustic battle of bands and everyone that I got to meet. So that was the first time I ever met Bo Davis.
Yeah.
And Wendy, and what a pair they were, and what a pair of personalities they were and are. And I don't know. I guess I just want to say, shout out to Bo, because he lived and breathed music. That's all that guy did. He lived the lifestyle.
Yes, he did, and he's missed by a lot of people, especially down in the southern area down there around the Hamilton, that area, Westchester. He played a lot of those clubs, and Bo was one of those guys who you could talk to on the phone, and he'd talk your ear off for an hour and a half, and just about all kinds of things in music. And he got so mad about things and fired up, and he was an interesting dude. But he enjoyed playing that Battle of the Bands too. He was cool, and he had a big band then. Now he's up there looking down on all of us, thinking, "You bunch of idiots are still doing that."
What else would we be doing? What else? What else you want to do? So.
But yeah, shout out and love to Bo.
No one's band was bigger than the winner of that acoustic battle of bands, which was Controversy for Breakfast. I don't know how many people were on that stage, but they were falling off the sides. And granted, it was a pretty small stage, but I think they had either a 6 or 7 person band.
Yeah, they were a big band.
For that competition, yeah.
On a stage no bigger than a desk. It was
on the stage that a 3-piece band would play on. Luckily.
Yeah, and those guys, man, you talk about unique. I mean, they had something that nobody had ever seen. I mean, playing bluegrass music in a metal format, so to speak, or rock format, and trash grass, as they like to refer to it, was a blast. I mean, they hit that stage, and I think everybody was like, "Wow," and they'd love me to say a bunch of rednecks out there having fun, man, drinking and partying and enjoying themselves, and they're still at it. I saw Derek, the lead singer guy. I saw him not too long ago down at Bell and the Bear. He was in doing the open mic night, did a couple songs, and he's still at it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Shane, what else you got going on in the works? Anything? You guys writing? I know you guys released your album. You guys writing anymore, or do you even have time to write? Do you even have time to?
Yeah, I finished a song the other day. I haven't been writing as much as I think I ought to be. That's for sure. I had some songs I didn't use for the first album, so there's already a couple there, and I wrote one the other day, and it's just a weird thing. I wish I could get up every morning and grab some coffee and maybe do some exercise and then write and practice, but that's not the case.
Right.
Shameless plug from Scott.
Rustier the better. Right.
You like doing the original stuff though?
I love it. It's fantastic. I mean, no one's gonna know your song better than you know it. And then that's also when we do covers. I don't necessarily go out of my way, but I try to keep it natural. So when we do covers, they're undoubtedly our version of the cover. We're not in a full band, so I don't have to worry about playing it just like the album. Some songs more than others, but they all have our flair on it. That's for sure.
The production quality on that was excellent. You did that at Rephrase Studios, and man, does it sound good.
Yeah, that was Ron. That was Ron Pease from Rephrase, and I had never gone through recording ever, so that was my first experience, and he made it delightful. It was awesome.
He's a pro.
I couldn't. It was fantastic. He wasn't. I'll tell you what. If I ever saw that guy worry, I would be worried, because he is the most laid back cat you have ever met in your life.
Yeah, if he says get out of the room, get out of the room.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, he does. And what's amazing is that little studio in Kettering, Ohio, has had some incredibly huge acts come through there and record. I mean, people that you'd never even realize, and some folks that recorded there that to this day don't want him to say they recorded there, but did some great tracks there. And it's kind of nostalgic. Still got the reel to reels in there from the old days and all that. It's a cool studio, and man, I'm glad you guys got a chance to record that there. It had to be an amazing experience for you.
Yep. He had some fantastic stories for us.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yep. Absolutely.
So Geoff, you were mentioning projects and all that and writing. Shane, I got to tell you that as you listen to that, and I know I've had this conversation with a good friend of ours, Roger McNutt, about your guys' music and the originals. Each one of those songs in its own respect, I think you dug deep for, and it was from a different place, each one. It wasn't like it, you can go listen to John Mayer and the songs all sound the same and they all have kind of the same theme. This is all over the place with emotion and, different types of and styles of music. So what made you take such a wide variety like that and put it on an album?
You're catching a snapshot of where I was on that day. It is pretty much, I may have been thinking about, someone that had passed, or what a fantastic day is. There's so much stuff going on. Stable is more about me personally. That has more of my life in it. That's kind of a snapshot of where I was in life and what was going on with me and my work and time I'm spending with my wife, for lack thereof. Yeah.
Geoff, can we take a listen to Stable for a second?
Yeah, sure,
just
absolutely. Play it.
Let's do it. Hang on. Let's listen to that just a second. I'll give it a big intro. This is our friends, Shane and Rob. From Until Rust, here's Stable.
Roll one up, grab a cold one for me. Grab my six string, try to work out all these things. And I don't know just what
all right. We don't want to get gigged by YouTube or anybody for playing.
We're gonna get a
music.
copyright strike.
Yeah, it was so funny. I played a Jordan Wood song on my show, and I got a Warner Music violation that I'd violated a song that they had copywritten under their trademark, and I'm like, no, you don't have Jordan Wood on your trademark. But it's kind of funny.
I got excited there for a second. I was like, they got picked up by Warner.
Yeah. He would like that, I think, but that's a cool song, Shane, and it is. If anybody hasn't yet downloaded their album, tell them where they can find your stuff.
Almost any major streaming platform, from Spotify to iTunes to Amazon, and ones I've never heard of like Deezer and stuff like that. It's all out there. It's supposed to be on TouchTunes, but it's been more than problematic to get them to follow through with that. So, but other than that, and we still have CDs at our shows here and there, a limited amount left. But yeah,
it's a good one.
What do you use? Do you distribute it yourself, or do you use like a distro kit or something like that? Or you?
No, we didn't, get a website to sell merch and CDs or anything like that. So, so far as the actual physical CD, whenever we recorded the album and we put it out to the streaming platforms, I bought a bunch of CDs.
The streaming platforms, what do you use to distribute that? Like, how did you get them on? Did you put them on the platforms yourself, or like each individual?
No, absolutely not. I'm not even near smart enough to do any of that. I use CD Baby, actually.
I know there's a handful of them out there.
It was highly recommended, and they made it pretty easy. There's a dashboard on there, and you could choose, the level of involvement and how many streaming platforms and things of that nature.
Okay.
You just have to upload it. That's all you have to
I know that there's a few different ones out there. I didn't know which one you used. I've heard some bad things about a couple of them. They lock you in, or if you don't keep paying their fees, then you kind of lose some abilities.
No, the good thing about them is it was a one-time fee for all that. So I minus the CDs were separate, right. But I ordered those at the same time. And it was a one-time fee, and they made it. It was a good experience. I could definitely say that.
So. Well, where are you going next? Where's next take you?
Tonight I'm going to play by myself over at the Barrel in Springboro, and off Wednesday, Thursday I'm by myself at Babs in Middletown, and that's an up and coming venue. They're open. They had to open, to start generating some money, but they're under construction, and they're going to try to make it through COVID and the winter all at the same time. So I try to give those guys all the support that I can because they're super people, Rob and Karen. And then this weekend, the weekends is usually all until Rust. We're going to be at Leon's Garage in Marysville on Saturday. And Friday, my brain is failing me. I can't think it. Scott, do you know where I'm at on Friday?
Yeah, I can tell you real quick. Hang on. Hey. Let me call up the gig group here, and we'll.
And this will come out Friday, so if you can figure out where it is, this will come out on Friday morning. So maybe if anybody watches this and they stuck around this long, they'll come out and watch it Friday and Saturday. So
let me see what we have next there. Oh yeah, Mr. Shane Demoss is in this group, and it looks like he's playing Friday night at Heroes Pizza House, the 1 year anniversary party.
It's their 1 year anniversary. A couple other great people right there.
From 6 to 9 o'clock. Yeah, and they've done a lot for music locally here. I mean, they're putting a lot of people on their little area there, their stage, and that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Great place, good food. So yeah, you're
good.
Busy.
They had a pretty good bourbon selection.
Struggle to fight. Yep, great bourbon selection, good food, and they're great people. So if you're a musician, you should certainly, consider helping those guys out. I mean, it's crazy times for everybody, and you can't take price cuts 365 days a year. But that being said, choosing some local venues to, help out here and there is always a good idea. I think for karma, anyways, for yourself.
Well, it's like Scott and I have talked about before, taking a little bit of a cut now and not, taking as much as you normally would. One, keeps the business around, keeps one more music venue open, and then they remember that. And it keeps you out there and your name out there and you relevant in the music community. And if you're willing to help, then they're going to, scratch your back. So...
And there's several bands out there that I know of that wouldn't take a cut. They're like, no, we have to have this kind of money, and that's okay. But you're not going to get booked as much right now. It's just not happening, and it's a shame that all this is hitting. But you got to look at those, as Shane said, those venue owners are struggling hard. I was in a chain restaurant last night, which I don't normally do. I normally go to the local places and all that. And we went to I can say it, a Carrabba's restaurant, and man. I said to Mrs. Hall around town that it was, if they're living off this kind of business, I don't know how they're keeping the doors open. I mean, there was nobody in there. It was Monday night, obviously a slower night, but still, dinner time at 6:30 and there's just nobody in the place. And it's hard to see happening out there, and it's happening in the music venues. I know I've seen it, and you've seen it with people that used to come out and see you guys a lot. And it's a little sparse sometimes. Some of these venues, unless you're until Rust, and then it's packed.
Right, then you just got a full house all the time, right?
Yeah.
I just talked about this to somebody, another musician, the other night. We've had nights where we've played in a couple venues, and I was playing to the pool table, and by the pool table, I don't mean the pool table when everyone had it. I mean literally the pool table itself and the bartender. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we have the same problems everyone else does. So, I mean, yeah. But it's paid practice at that point. So,
I've had a few of those.
And you know how great like David Thornton is. David Thornton's fantastic. And we were at Grainworks the other night with him, and we got there. There were 4 or 5 tables, and Grainworks is a big place. And we sat down and turned around, and it's the bartender, Liz and I, and David Thornton playing. Now, there was a private party in a back room, but they could have cared less about live music. But it was, man, it just shocked me. And, and talking to David about it, he's like, yeah, some nights it'll be wall to wall, and other nights it's just, but it was pouring the rain. It was cold, nasty, it just affects things. And really, really strange times right now. I hope we get past all this and everybody gets back to having some fun by summertime, and we've got concerts happening and anything else we can pull out of the rabbit. You know what?
That's right.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think with what you're saying, something important that I thought of, or at least for me, is I think sometimes musicians, especially now, scrambling to find shows, and then also this applies to, quote unquote normal times. I think they all feel such a sense of competition sometimes that they'd be willing to book anywhere, even if you're playing the same 4 places that are within a 10-mile radius of each other, uh, 60 times that year. Not that anyone would book you that much, but that being said, it's man, it's so important to either play less or spread out.
Yeah.
play other places. I mean, Rob and I have played a lot over the last 3 years. Which I think a lot of musicians, especially old schoolers, could laugh about because. I mean, some of the older guys, I know them and they've been gracious enough to be super nice to me. But, those guys have been playing forever. They've played tons and tons and tons of shows. And, I mean, they know the deal. Like, you can't play the same place all the time and expect to have a draw. And even if you change up your set list a little bit, it's still the same darn set list. So I don't know. Definitely something that you made me think about right there. I mean, just getting out there and making the drive 45 minutes, in any direction and playing somewhere brand new.
And then
back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Geoff.
I was just gonna say, and then you also expand your audience, and when you start doing stuff like that, you get out of your bubble, and you start just keep going out and out and out. So then you get more fans, and then you can keep on going, depending. So that's good.
It has evolved so much. And back in the 80s, when I started doing a lot of music work and I was doing sound for bands and all that, we would play as a house band 5 nights a week in the same club. And I mean, you were the house band, just you played 5 nights a week. Next week you did it again for years. I mean, several years. And now that's just unheard of. And then you see guys now that are getting residencies in places. Well, I'm going to be there every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. What I'm seeing with that is that works for a while, and then it just starts to just fade away, because like Shane just said, you're in that same place, no matter how you slice it or change your show. You're gonna have people that just get tired of going there because it's just the same old stuff every week. So it's really a weird time, and residencies work in Vegas and places like that for big acts, but I don't know that they're the end all be all. And I know Jamie Combs just got one down at Bell and the Bear. He's one of those guys that's got a songbook of 6 million songs though, so he may be able to pull some of that off a little better. But for a lot of guys that have that 3-hour set list, it's tough. It's tough to play the same place every week.
Well, and that being said, I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about that while you were talking. There are the exceptions to the rule, and those are your absolute full-time musicians. And out of them, there's a small pocket of them who could play anything. And Jamie not only has a hugely expansive songbook, he also will play things he doesn't necessarily know. And then I've got there's another guy named Brad Martin, and he plays by himself. He's in several bands. Uh, I'm going to open up for one of his bands down at the Barrel at the end of this month called Audio Graffiti. And I mean, Brad, you just call some stuff out, he'll just play it. Doesn't matter if he knows it. Right. I mean, it's amazing. I see people like that, and it makes you realize how I don't know how much you're not even close to their level at all. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about that Bell and the Bear, their open jam night. But man, you take Jim Cuesta out of DV8, and you take Kevin Cooper and Dave Moody from Thunderstruck, and they hit this stage, and I don't care what it is. Somebody stands up there and says, "Oh, I want to play this song," and they're like, "You ever played that?" "No, I've never played it." Well, let's try it. Boom! The next thing you know, it sounds like they've played it for 30 years. I mean, these guys are just pros, and it's really cool to see. And like you said, only certain people can pull off that weekly. I'm in the same place the same night every week thing.
I'm gonna have to start making my way down that way a bit more often. So
let's all take a road trip one night. Thursday night, man. Thursday night we'll just roll down. It takes about a half hour from Springboro to get there. It'll take you a little longer, Geoff.
Oh yeah. It takes me about 45 minutes to get just to Springboro. So
because you're living up there in God's
That's
country.
Right, way out here in the middle of nothing. I'm right on the right on the snow line, right? So right, it's like when everybody sees that, they're like, "Oh, it's up north," and then that's in my backyard, basically.
What's our time look like, brother? What's our time? You been timing this?
Yeah, we're over 45 minutes, and you can tell your camera's going crazy. So you're sitting here talking, and you can't see it on your side, but you'll see it on the video when it comes out. So it'll be big, little, and popping all over the place. So
nobody wants to see my face.
Let me ask you guys a question before you cut the show off, because I wanted to ask you one thing to get you both to talk on is we're in 2021 now, and everyone was waiting for 2021 because everything was going to change. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How far into the future, starting at the beginning of 21, do you think the restrictions are going to be here? Or do you think they'll ever be removed?
Are you talking about just in Ohio, or are you talking about like everywhere?
I'm talking. I mean, there's some places that are pretty wide open. They have some very small restrictions like Florida. But that being said, yeah, sure. I mean, we could start the conversation in Ohio. I mean, how long? I mean, what do you think the future is going to look like for us in 2021? Do you think they're going to go away?
I think it's going to be really hard pressed. I mean, I don't like to get on the topic a lot of that stuff of the COVID stuff and necessarily my personal beliefs, but because if you say the wrong thing, then you just lost half your people that
Sure.
But I think a lot of it's going to be driven by whatever happens with who is willing to take the vaccine and who is not. I mean, I've already seen a lot of articles about a lot of healthcare providers refusing to take the vaccine. So what's that going to do? What are those types of things saying? And then how is that going to affect any lockdowns or anything? I think it's going to go on for a while. I think the lockdowns will just continue to roll for a while. And I guess maybe eventually, at some point, the numbers will eventually have to go down on how many people are actually catching the disease and everything and the virus and catching that. And as long as, once that starts to taper off, because eventually, I guess if you've had it, hopefully you've had it and that's it and it passes. So the numbers will eventually go down and maybe they'll start to open things back up. So I'm hoping, at least by the summer, so we can start having some outdoor stuff going on, the patios open normally. So hopefully we can get rid of these masks. Stop forgetting them when you get to the front door, because I've been guilty of that more times than I can count. So,
yeah.
What do you think, Scott?
I think, I think it's interesting. It'll depend on a couple factors. One, if the vaccine actually has effect and does what it's supposed to do. And again, like you said, there are people that are, you've got your extremist anti-vaxxers out there. You've got people that are cautiously optimistic on this thing. But I see people figuring it out. I see people, even if the virus is still running fairly rampant. I see some of the venues and that with the music scene figuring it out to where they can do socially distanced concerts and such, the bigger venues. But they're going to have to make enough money to pay for that act to roll down the road and come to them. And that means ticket prices are going to be huge. If you're going to have to be a rich person to go, and you're not going to see the Rock on the Range, and you're not going to see those kind of places that pack the fields full of people. You're going to see these pods and where you're in a circle and your family of 6 can be in there and those kind of things. I'll see Riverbend doing that. I'll see some others, I think, going to that. But I don't think really this thing's going to get out of here, and I'm just going to be the bad guy and say 2022 may be the year of getting back to packing houses and doing things, what I'm reading and seeing on it. But again, you never know what's true. I mean, I don't know what's true. I read all these articles and looks things up, and the more you read, I try to avoid the internet and actually avoid Facebook and things like that and try to get to some real places. But it's just... it's an interesting time. Like I said, it's going to be crazy, but we've all got to figure a way out, and a way to get out and enjoy yourselves. I mean, even the small venues, you look like JD Legends doing some concerts and having some fun with people. It's socially distanced, but they're not making the money they would have been making off a concert with 2,000 people. You can't, and that's difficult. So, and I don't know anything about the background on any of those places on their money. I know a little bit about the Rose and the Phrase, and they're both in trouble. I mean, they've got to pay the bills for all that land and all those places, and it's tough. The Phrase has never made a lot of money off. Kettering did that kind of as a courtesy to their citizens, and that's just, if that's a prediction, I'm saying 2022 we might see the N word come back with normal, and this year it's going to be different. But you will see some concerts and things going on. I don't think Live Nation and those places are going to survive if they don't do something. Maybe we'll see the old folks tour, the assisted living tour. All the old guys will be back out on the road playing for a couple grand, and that'll be all right.
Well,
I like those old bands.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed and seen so far is, I mean, you said it is, people are figuring it out. They're figuring out ways in venues, even small venues, they're figuring out how they can still have live music, how they can still have people come in and things like that. And, just like none of us know, because we don't run these companies or run these businesses and don't know what their financial situation looks like. But that's my biggest fear, is I hope that they continue to figure it out and that they don't shutter their doors. Back to some of the stuff earlier, we were talking about how I said, I'd much rather take a little bit less pay now and have that venue stay open so they can book us again in 6-8 months and have everybody else play there too. Because, the more people that get to play out, then the more people get to go out and enjoy live music, and we all get to do what we love, and the venues get to stay open and stay in business. Because even though we're still continuing to play some of these small venues and we're surviving doing what we do, that's their only, sometimes their only survival is their business, their livelihood, all just right there in one building. And if we can help out by cutting prices sometimes to help them out and keep them open, or can cancel shows so they don't have to pay, that's just not more money going out the door, and they get to stay open, then that'll be great. So I hope that they all continue to figure out ways to survive through all of this and come up with new innovative ways to make money so they can be around and be relevant.
And I hope we can all show some love to each other this year. This last year, man, has people crazy. I mean,
yeah, hopefully the bar wasn't set with the way everybody treated everybody all of a sudden. I mean, not that it wasn't that way before, but I guess it wasn't as outlandish as it was, especially this past year. It was phenomenally worse.
Oh yeah, the stress of COVID and the election year and everything else, and people taking sides and everything. I mean, now you can't post anything on Facebook without somebody challenging you on it. I call them keyboard warriors. So just let's hope it's a kinder, gentler world this year in 2021 and into 2022, and let's make it that way if we can, and support each other. I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, we're Geoff and I are trying to just kind of support each other, have some fun with this, and we need to do more of it.
Hopefully we can.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we can start bringing more people in. And maybe, we're starting small here, but maybe that's just eventually what we do is, maybe if we keep pushing this, maybe we can start bringing more people together with, musicians and the community and stuff like that. So life's too short to be mad all the time, especially with everybody else that you're around. So.
Yes, sir. So like everybody's page, Shane Demoss Music, Until Rust, Route 88,
Haul Around Town
/
Radio,
Shadow Life. You guys are playing a show too soon. Yeah.
Oh
All
yeah,
Around
we
Town
did.
Radio.
We got
I'll get
one
my
in June.
shameless plug
So,
in.
but
Yeah, good deal.
so all right, yeah.
So,
and if you like it, once again, subscribe, hit the button. Hit the comments below. Tell us what you want to hear. Maybe eventually we'll figure this little popping screen out thing here with Scott, and we'll keep him to a normal size. But
you don't want to see my normal size.
So, yep. So,
well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, Shane Demoss.
thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
It's great to have you.
Absolutely.
Always good to talk to you, man. We don't get to see you enough. You're out there playing so much.
So.
But someday when you come off the tour, maybe we can sit down and have a beer and enjoy it. And Geoff, same to you, man. A bourbon or something.
That's right. We can do it. Do this
right.
live session so we can all sit around and drink beers and bourbon, and who knows, maybe we'll even have some tequila.
I'm calling it. If you guys have a bourbon tasting session, I'm in.
We're doing that on a show for sure.
You know what? I've actually talked about doing that. So if you're,
we got to get Lindsay involved.
Oh, absolutely.
In that too.
So if you're,
Lindsay knows his bourbon.
If you're willing and wanting to, then once we get it up and going, you can be there.
We may not want to go a full hour. If we go a full hour of bourbon tasting, we could all be in trouble by the end. Might be saying things that we get kicked off the internet for. Oh, well.
All right.
Guys, you've been watching Talk Around Town with Geoff Edwards. I am Scott Hall, your host. Shane Demoss has joined us today. And remember to go to our YouTube channels, Geoff Edwards on YouTube or Hall Around Town Radio on YouTube. Like our pages and subscribe. That little bell icon and subscribe so you know when we've put new content up. Same thing applies with Mr. Shane Demoss. Go to his pages and help him out. And it's been a pleasure, fellas. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. It's been good. Thanks for coming on, Shane. We appreciate it. So,
thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you.